Hello everyone and welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. On today's video, we're bringing 7450 back in the chute to see how that left front foot's doing. And I'm going to take you back and show you some of the clips of some lost footage that I had earlier in the year. Not the full trims, I lost those on my GoPro, but I got some clips from my other camera, so I'm going to show you those just to see what you missed, not to tease. But let's get 7450 back in the chute. This is the girl that had a sore left front foot. And in that foot, she had a crack in her white line, and there was a stone lodged right in there. We pulled that out, and it was just a tiny, tiny little stone, but enough to cause some discomfort and a nasty infection underneath. So we cleaned that entire area away, and we found that entire sole had loosened, so we had to remove that. We wrapped that foot with salicylic acid, and we let her go. After 2 weeks had passed, this is what it looked like. All the horn around that lesion had firmed up, become hard again, but that lesion area was still open. And I knew that going in, that tissue there was damaged and it was going to take some time to heal. Unfortunately, we've lost the block. So now we're going to go back, we're going to trim this foot up a little bit. Once again, we're not going to do too much on this trim, just kind of clean it up a little bit, reapply that block, and then we're going to fast forward ahead a little bit further and see how it healed. If you remember back to that first video, there was some soft horn up above on the heel of this foot that I left. And you can see here, that's all firmed up now. It's all nice, hard horn now. Now there's no problem in removing that. I don't have to worry about hitting any live tissue. The block did come off on this, so I'm going to reapply that block just to elevate that claw again. Make sure that that lesion's not touching the ground. I don't want that toe to touch to abrade and keep that lesion open. And then I'm going to clean that area out really well, and I'm going to wrap it once again with salicylic acid just to kill any of that bacteria in there. I don't want dermatitis to invade that active lesion and to delay this healing any further. As I mentioned in this first video, this heifer was only 40 days out at that first trim until she was due to calve. So we had a limited amount of time to try to fix her. And after this last trim, she ended up moving to a maternity area, and I didn't get to check on her. I kept checking with the herdsman to make sure she was doing better, but I don't like to mess with them when they're close to calving. I don't want to stress them out any more than we have to. So we didn't actually look at this foot again until 6 weeks later. Now this is 8 full weeks from that initial trim. And as you can see, this sole has healed in beautifully. Actually better than I expected it would. Seeing the size of that lesion still at the 2-week mark, I didn't think we would be at this point. But it's all healed in, can bear weight, and this foot was ready to go. Now, the reason you didn't get to see me trim this foot, and the reason you missed out on a lot of these trims that I'm going to show you now is because my GoPro had a malfunction and I lost a whole bunch of clips that I shot of the actual trimming that I used my GoPro for. I lost all of those. The trimming of this foot, the letting her go, all of that was lost. The finishing of this, cleaning up this white line that you're looking at now, also lost. But that's a perfect transition to show you some of the trims that you would have missed. I'd take some stills and some close-up shots with my other camera. I have those. So let's zoom ahead and take a look at some of the stuff that you guys missed. So earlier this fall, my uncle called me and he said, I've got some beef cows that need to get trimmed. Why don't you come up and trim them for me? So I hopped in the truck, traveled the 2.5 hours north from La Crosse to my home where I grew up near Cumberland, Wisconsin, and that's where we take it to my uncle's house right now. That's where we met Charlie. Now I got to tell you, Charlie was not too happy to see us. Even though we weren't messing with him this day, we were taking a look at some of his cows, and he voiced his disapproval. And what we had was one girl that had some vertical fissures in her claws here, also known as sand cracks. This is her right front foot. You can see a pretty deep one here. We had to clean all of this area out, and luckily there was really no lameness on this foot. And on this other foot you're about to see now, look at this one. This entire sole here, or the wall horn, this toe area was completely loose. I had to clean that whole area out of there. And like I said, no lameness for her whatsoever. I was actually baffled by that. The next foot I'm going to show you, I came across back home on one of my dairies. It was a deep hole in the medial claw on the back foot of this cow. As we swung around the side, you could see that it had worked its way out the top, which meant I had to remove this side wall to expose that lesion. Halfway through this trim, there you could see we had some dermatitis that had colonized on that corium. And like I said, I don't have the footage to show you the rest of these. It was lost on my GoPro. Now here's another foot. Look at the coloration in the sole of this foot. I get questions all the time about those dark marks. What are they? Are they bad spots? It's just pigmentation. This is just a really odd looking color. But when we swing around and take a look at her head, you can see why. She's got the exact same color in her hide, that different blotchiness. Pretty interesting. Now to wrap it up today, guys, I've had a lot of comments asking about how is your new puppy Meadow doing? Well, she's doing great. Doing all those things puppies like to do. She has all the toys in the world, and yet my slipper seems to be her favorite toy. Well, that's going to do it, guys. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you all on the next one.